looking at this chart right now, so let's go to the 4-hour time frame. You can agree with me that the US dollar strength is back on the radar. So we have some back and forth last week around this area where we have the 30 days downtrend movement before the resumption of this uptrend, after there's a reversal pattern here, which is the head and shoulder, and that head and shoulder showed up in a higher time frame, which is a very solid indicator of a reversal. You get? So now we still have another breakout around this particular area last week, and then going back to the 4-hour time frame, you will see that the US dollar strength is here to stay. So let's go to the weekly time frame and then see where the support comes from. So you can see around this particular area, let's say, and then the DXY bounced back from that area and then still move above 99.783, and then we've seen DXY above 100 mark. So anytime DXY is above 100, just know that the DXY strength is on the radar. You understand what I'm saying? Because last time the US dollar moved above 100, you see that it's moved past that area to 107 mark before it's kind of retrace or drop. So from there at 100 mark, it still move up, they still come back. As you can see here, price is still above 100 around this area, it still move up. So now we've seen the US dollar above 100 at this particular area, so we should be expecting a long-term movement to the upside in the DXY. That's you should be expecting the long-term sell setup on DU, EU, SND USD, AUD USD, then a buy setup on US dollar, Canadian dollar. That is for a long-term setup. So I'm not talking about short term, because there will still be a small sell setup on the short term basis. Come to my YouTube channel. This is AmberFS, and this is where I bring you the latest insights in the world of forex market, the technical and the fundamental. So do well to subscribe, like, and share, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell in case I drop a new video, so that you can be notified. So there is a link to a verified broker which you can open as low as 2,000 naira in the description box. That is Headway. So for now, I recommend using Headway so that you can scale up very fast. Even if you don't have capital, you can just use that 2,000 naira to generate something. If you use 2k, it won't pay you much than losing like 20,000 naira in a trade. So that's it. So let's check the individual currency and see what we'll be looking at in the forex market. But before that, we should check the economic activities of next week. Now the economic calendar, what you can see here is that on Monday is a quiet day in the economic markets, as you can see in the Forex Factory. Tuesday we have the CPI, and then we have the CPI month over month, and then year over year, and Bank of England governor speech on Tuesday. You get? So on the CPI, the market forecast is 0.3, while the previous is 0.1. On the month over month, 0.3, and then minus 0.1, which is the previous reading. On the year over year, market is saying that probably the year over year CPI should repeat itself. You get? Because the previous is 2.4 and then the forecast is 2.4. On Wednesday we have the AUD wage price index, and then I don't think this will actually move the market much, but the major event we have next week is from the US inflation report. That is at the CPI and the PPI. So it's majorly on the US dollar, but don't forget that we have the AUD unemployment rate and employment change on Thursday. You get? This one too is very important, is a high impact news. But Tuesday, Thursday, we have the CPI, the PPI, and the retail sales. These are all inflation news. But this one's come out every Thursday. That is unemployment claims, which is predicted to be increased to 229,000 this week. versus 228,000 last week. So let's see how it goes around that area. And don't forget that Chairman Fed Powell will speak on Thursday. They will speak on the inflation after this inflation report, and it will give the feedback on the report and how it means to the economy. So probably stay focused on this speech. It's very, very important. It will move the market. So that's all we have on the economic activity last week. Our focus should be on the US dollar pairs next week, because I think and I believe we are going to see a lot of volatility on the US dollar pairs next week in terms of the GBP USD, Euro USD, US dollar CAD, US dollar JPY, US dollar CHF, and the rest. So let's go back to the individual currency and see the currencies we have on our watch list. So to me, coming back to the DSY, we should see the DSY going as far as touching this particular resistance level around this particular area. So that is looking for a long time upward setup in the DSY. That is a stronger dollar, to be precise, you get, because we've seen a lot of confirmation that give us a rigid, a very solid reason to believe that the US dollar strength is here to stay. So probably looking for from this angle, you'll see that price has hit a major milestone around this area. There's a breakout of this resistance level and a retest, so which means that prayer on Monday we should see price moving up from this particular area. Then it will create a lot of support scenario at this area. Probably maybe if price move, then you might see another move before we see price moving to the upside. But I don't think price is going to probably go below this particular area, and if it go below that particular area, it means that probably price came to hit this particular level, and then we'll see a rejection from there. So that's that on the DSY. And as you can see that we use DSY to measure other currency, you get, so especially the what we use to measure most is the USD currency pairs, you get. So let's see, the first one we want to check is GBP US dollar. As you can see, this GU, what I wanted to notice here is that price is creating a low. What do I mean? So after we have a new high at this particular area, price come back to this area, didn't create a new low here. So let's use this scenario, this line. As you can see, as price create a new high, coming back to this area, it didn't create a new low, which means that we are seeing an uptrend. And the price failed to create a new high, which turned this to head and shoulder. You understand what I mean? The price creates a new low. As you can see, this low stopped at 1.32504, while this low stopped at 1.32420, which means that it's a new low already. So what are we now looking at? Putting the price at this particular resistance that break around this area, probably maybe particular area can also become support later in the future. So there is already a retracement. So when you measure this retracement, and then if you are expecting price to actually reject, where are you expecting price to reject from? So let's use the Fibonacci retracement level, then target this high and this low. So probably you'll be expecting price to reject at price has passed the 50% Fibonacci retracement level. So probably should be waiting for 61.8 Fibonacci retracement level, or at most 78.6 Fibonacci retracement level, and then a rejection back to this area, because as you can see, this is a head and shoulder. So if you use a trend line, you will see what is happening around this particular area. The trend line has broken to the upside, but price is still prone to fail around 50% and the 61.8% Fibonacci retracement level to the downside. So let's now go back to the candlestick. So let's go to the 4-hour time frame. So if you are to adjust this trend line around this area, you will see that this is how it's fitting. So here price closes as doji on Friday on the 4-hour time frame. So doji at the 50% Fibonacci retracement level, but when we are using the line charts, it didn't occur to us that price has rejected at 61.8% Fibonacci retracement level. But now we can see that price reject at 61.8% Fibonacci retracement level, which means that we will be expecting a new low around this particular area right there. So using the 1 hour time frame, let's go to the 1 hour time frame. You see the various rejection at 61.8% Fibonacci retracement level, which means that next week I'm looking for a sell sector, which my safe zone will be after 78.6 Fibonacci retracement level. So which means that probably if I want to sell this on a long term, I might put my sell setup around that area, and then my stop loss above these slightly above 78.6 Fibonacci retracement level, and then target below this, or target the next support level as my take profit level, which will give me 1:2.4 risk to reward. So probably next week what I'm actually looking for is GBP US dollar to the downside. So you can also use trend line, which is this. As you can see, this trend line capture this, so which means that we'll be expecting price not to break this trend line to the upside, but if it break it, let's say price break it to the upside, so we should be expecting a fall at 78.6 Fibonacci retracement level. So what I'm actually looking at, due to what I'm seeing on DSY, is GBP USD to the downside. So your first target might be 1.32230, and then probably your last target might be 1.30961. That is for the next week again. So that's what I'm actually looking at on GBP US dollar. So based on your own analysis too, you can watch out for this if it's likely happen. So the next pair I want to check is Euro US dollar. Euro US dollar, we can see that we have a similar scenario with the GBP US dollar. Here, let's use the line chart too and understand the price movement at this area. But to be sincere, this one has rejected already after I used the Fibonacci retracement last week. I think it rejected at 50% Fibonacci retracement level. So when price creates a new high, didn't create a new low, which is fair enough that we are still in an uptrend. So probably as a trader using trend line, you can just do like this, that okay, we are still in an up. But here, if you let's say buy something like this, you might make 1:2 risk to reward as a profit target, because you want to place your take profit at this resistance level. But that's not how we are here. So when price now break this trend line to the downside, we now saw another bounce at this area, but the bounce was not able to clear this high, which means that sellers have started to step in the market. You understand what I mean? Then we have a breakout of this solid support level to the downside, and price creates a new low. You get this last low is 1.12786. And this new low is 1.12305. That's 1.12232. Pardon. So that's what I can see there, that sellers have started to step in on Euro US dollar after various back and forth at this level. So this is the first thing I'm saying before that price reject at 50% Fibonacci retracement level. As you can see, there's a rejection at 50% Fibonacci retracement level, and price creates a new low. So if you can see this one too, the DSY is creating the inverse head and shoulder. Euro USD JPY is creating the normal head and shoulder. So which means that we are in for a sell setup. So let's move back to the candlestick, which all of us understand. So as you can see, there is a move towards this resistance level, and then the sellers, they track the price, and then we have an inverted hammer formation at this particular area, which means that there is a force of sellers around this resistance, this support level that turns to resistance again. So which means that you should be expecting a sell setup on Euro US dollar going to the next week. So let's see how it goes like that. So there is a breakout, a retest, previous, and then there is a breakout, also a retest. Probably you should see price moving below this mark. So you should see price coming to 1.162. This is the next level. So we should see price coming back to 1.10874. So I'm looking for a sell setup on Euro US dollar next week. Again, so that's what I'll be looking at. Probably maybe to be on the safe side, might need a sell setup around this area, and then your stop loss might be around this area. And if you don't want to use a larger stop loss, can be above this particular high, because price might retest that high, and then your take profits might be around this area. And some of you might say it's a bad risk to reward. It depends on what you are trading, you get. And then probably if you want to stay safe, then you can put it's not stay safe. If you want to probably maybe your ego of risk to reward, then you might put it here. Then something like this, you might see something like this later, where price will just come hit you, take this level, then come back to the downside. It's very, very possible. So let's see how it goes. But in all you do next week, you can actually wait for a retracement before you enter. If you see a retracement around this area, you can even wait before you want to jump in to this particular trade, you get. So just be careful. So probably if you want to use a trend line, let's say probably maybe use a trend line at this particular area. So if you want to use a trend line, you can wait for price to come back here, hit the trend line. So we are still saying the same thing around this area. So which means that if you even put your stop loss above this high, it will not hit, you get. So let's say you enter this area, you put your stop loss above this area high around this area, and then you target this low. So your stop loss will not hit at that particular area. So but let's see, wait for a retest to that particular area, and then a sell setup to the downside. So the next one I want to check is AUD USD. And then there's a link to the description in the description box. That is a link to a verified prop firm, you get. So it's a reputable prop firm. And then we are giving 20% discount if you use my promo code AMBERFS20 on any challenge, be it one that is probably if you are trading one step or two step. If you want to buy one step account or two step account, there is a 20% discount on any one of them you want to purchase, you get. So do it to click the link, register, and use AMBERFS20 to waive 20% of that price, you get. So you can start there, and it's very, very cheap, just $28 if you want to buy a 5k account. And that $28 you can withdraw as high as $2,000, $30,000 with that $28 you get. So that's just click the link, register the profile, and buy your account using my promo code to waive 20% off. So continue on the US dollar pair, AUD US dollar pair. So you can see that previously there is a range at this area, the price break, then it's back to that particular range. So looking at the, let's check the daily time frame. So looking at the daily time frame, you can see that this place is a very, very strong level around this area. This is a very strong level. Even within 0.643 to 0.63522 is a very strong level. So you can do a short sell if you like. You can do a short sell, because if you actually look at this in the 1 hour time frame, there's going to be a breakout of this area. You understand? So there's going to be a breakout at that particular area. So you can actually short this market when the price open, take your profit here. Probably your stop loss after this high, then 1:99 as your risk to reward, because this is a very strong level of support. Also price might hit here and then reverse, so you don't want to be gambling that you want to come and put your TP around that particular area. So just wait. If price break this area to the downside, then look for another selling opportunity back to this 0.62044. So I'm looking for a sell setup on AUD US dollar next week. So let's see how it goes. So let's see how it goes right there. The next pair is SND US dollar. So SND US dollar to looking out for a sell setup, because if you see the overall direction of the market, let's use the daily time frame and see how price move to that particular area. As you can see, there is a resistance, and a resistance level. So if you bring it closely, this one did not even form as a US dollar pairs. It didn't form a head and shoulder, it forms a double top. So this is the double top you can see around this area, this first top, and then the second top, you understand right now. So which means that you can see the price what we call a double top around that area, and then there is a break of this neckline, which price will probably reject to retest around this area. So I'll be expecting a sell setup from this supply zone. Where's the supply zone? Let's make it for you. This is the supply zone right here, as you can see. So I'll be looking for a sell setup around this area back to the next support level, which is 0.58199, because this level has been invalidated and price has created a new level. So, and if I'm not selling like this, then I might use a Fibonacci retracement instead of looking for that supply level. Then nowhere price will retrace to like 50% or 61.8% Fibonacci retracement level and sell back to 0.58199. And if you check the 50% Fibonacci retracement level, is still in line with that particular supply zone I marked earlier. So that's what I'm looking out for on SND US dollar. So on US dollar, Canadian dollar, so we're waiting for a week, then a bounce back to this 1.14675. Let's check the daytime and see the dangerous support level around this area. As you can see, this level is very strong, and there is a 70% chance, or let's say 80% chance, that this level will hold. It will hold because this is the first time it's holding. Not even holding, there is a breakout, there will be a retest, and even if it's not going to hold for a long time, it will still hold back to and to some level of upside before you see price breaking it back. Price will still, there is amount of buyer at this particular area. So you understand, there is amount of buyer at this particular area that will likely push the price upward. Even if it's going to break, price will still be pushed upward. So let's see how it goes around this particular area. So I'm waiting for a retest and a push, but if there is no retest, I'll be waiting for, let's use 1 hour time frame and the scenario of no retest. So if there is no retest, you gotta wait for this particular area to buy. You get, it's still a retest also. So let's see, wait for this area, then we'll enter our buy setup at that particular area. And then if this does not retrace, then probably this can be used as the next support level, which is around this area. You get, this can be used as the next support level if this one refuses to hold, and if there's a rejection at this area, then we'll enter our buyers. So the next one is US dollar card, the US dollar JPY, sorry. So yeah, what I saw last week was what made me buy US dollar JPY at that particular area. So I'm still holding that trade over the weekend, where my take profit is at this resistance level. So that 1:1.53. That is my risk to reward around this particular area. But there is high probability that price will leave that zone, and then you might see price retesting this area and then going back to 147,714. That's what I'm actually looking at on this US dollar JPY, for price to probably test this level of support of this trend line, and then see price going back to 147,742. You get, so on Canadian dollar JPY, actually looking at the same thing, the same scenario, where price will retest this area and then give us a bounce at this area to the downside. So let's see, I'm watching closely here next week for price to do this. So the last pair we want to check is AUD+JPY. On AUD+JPY, price did not create a new high, so I'm expecting price to come lower, like come to this particular area of the trend line. So which means that me and sell on Monday will be 5 and 6 on this AUD+JPY. So probably maybe if at the Asian section I didn't see a rejection to the upside that will break this level, you get this level, I didn't see this level break, then I will join the sellers to probably short this one back to this particular support level, which is the next reasonable level at this particular area, which I might see 1:2 or 1:1 or something. But for now, if you take it at this level, it will be 1:3. But then if price might be like this, you get that night, or probably be at this particular area. But I'll see how it goes. Or if price open and then you see something like this where price come here, go back to this area and still reject again, it's still another confirmation for you to sell back to this back to this support level right there. So these are the pairs on my watch list going to next week. So these are 8 pairs on my watch list going to the next week. So our analysis might not be the same. You can just look out for this in a live picture and check where you want to enter your trade and then where you want to exit. You get. So don't forget to register below very funded and get access to large funding. You don't want to be trading all your small money, because capital too is very essential. You get. Capital is a very essential commodity you should have as a trader. I didn't say that you should not be trading your 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 on headway. You get, but just have a profile where you'll be cashing out peak also. You get. So this are the pairs on my watch list, and don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel, like and turn on the notification bell in case I drop a new video, so that you can be notified. So stay safe, use your protective stop loss, and in any way you should not remove stop loss from your trade. You get. So, and don't be someone that actually shift stop loss. Probably you put your stop loss somewhere before you now shift it. Don't do that. It's a very bad trading habit. So see you next week. Have a good and a lovely weekend ahead, and don't forget to save.